Hey everyone, welcome to another episode of Badges to Briefcases. I'm your host, attorney Brandon Gans. We're going to jump right into part 2 of our interview with Sergeant Michael Alexander.
When I look at my radar's patrol speed and it shows 20, without even looking at my speedometer, I would know I'm not going 20. But I look at my speedometer, and then and this all happens in maybe a half a second or a second. You're doing all this. Yeah. I see the truck, and I'm like, oh, I'm getting a shadowing effect. So now I just ignore that speed reading and move on to the next thing. So the radar can show a number that's not the correct speed, but that's why we have the officers trained so well to make sure that we're not pulling that guy over for 110.
Got it. That makes sense. And I understand why you train the officers so well. What about the devices themselves? Once you have it, is it just good to go forever, or is there anything that has to be done with it?
No, they have to get, the state of Florida says they have to get calibrated every 6 months. So every 6 months, all radars and lasers have to go, basically an outside company comes in, and they are all FCC certified technicians, and they have some fancy science gear, and they take your radar and each separate devices, and they confirm, hey, this works properly, and you get a certificate that says your radar was calibrated, and you have to bring that certificate to court.
Okay. And if the officer doesn't have it in court, what happens?
You win. If the officer's missing any of their documents and you're there, you're going to ask the officer for those documents. The officer can't proceed with the case and gets dismissed.
Cool. And then Ian, did you use radar or laser?
Both.
You use both. Yeah. Is there anything you had to do like the day of enforcement, the day you're using it?
Yeah, so you have to test it every day. The radar units use a tuning fork. A common mistake some officers do, they're not supposed to, is they hit it on something metal, which damages the fork, which makes it not as accurate. But you have to do that every day. Depending on the type of unit you have, you're going to do it in stationary and moving mode. With the laser, you have to have a known set of distances and ensure that you're at the correct distance away.
As a tuning fork, you'd use in like music or
piece of metal, you clang it, makes a tone.
I wonder what key it's in.
35 miles an hour.
Yeah. What the tuning forks do, there's two forks, and it's like a little, just like a two-pronged fork, and when you ding it, it vibrates, and that let's say I have a 35 mile an hour fork and a 50 mile an hour fork. That sciencey, the vibration simulates the change in frequency of a car going 35 miles an hour. Same thing for the 50 mile an hour fork. That vibrates, so that confirms every day that the radar is working properly.
Interesting. Okay, so when an officer comes to court, they have to have their 6-month calibration for the device and the daily logs.
Correct.
And they have to check it before and after their shift. Okay, and then what? Their training certification, is that pretty much it?
You got to bring the paper that says you're certified, the radar log that says you checked it before and after, enforcement action.
And if you're using moving mode with a unit that's in the car, your speedometer calibration as well.
Right, then your patrol car, same thing, you have to get it calibrated every 6 months.
Right, make sure the speedometer was working correctly. Okay.
And then if the officer doesn't have any of those documents, they can't prove the case, and it has to be dismissed.
Right, they need to lay the predicate for the speed. So a lot of people want to know, radar detectors, do they actually work?
They do pick up a radar. So in certain aspects, certain times they can be effective, certain times they're not effective. So if the officer's just driving around with the radar on the whole time, the radar detector can be very effective. So say when I'm driving, the radar's on. Mm-hmm. So the radar's going to pick up the strongest signal. So let's say there's a line of cars coming towards me. Well, if you have a radar detector and you're like the 8th car back, I'm probably going to pick up the car at the front of the pack of cars. But your radar detector will pick up my radar long before I pick you up.
Okay.
If that makes sense.
Sure.
But say if I'm parked on the side of the road, or if I'm driving and I leave my radar, we don't turn it off. It's called, we put it in the standby mode.
Okay.
So I just pause the radar. It's the equivalent of you're watching Netflix and you want to go get something to drink. You just pause the TV. You're not turning the TV off and turning the TV back on. So when I could put pause on the radio's ready to go, and now I just keep it in pause mode. And when I see a car I think is speeding, I make an estimate. I push the button. Radar travels at the speed of light, which is basically instant. In that aspect, if you had a radar detector, all the radar detector would tell you is the cop just got you.
Yeah, exactly.
So if you're driving and the cop has their radar on,
right,
you'll pick it up long before they get you. So it can be effective. It can also not be effective.
That makes sense.
Just depends on how the officer is using their radar.
Yeah. And this might be a silly question, but some people might ask it. Would the officer know if you're using a radar detector?
Not until they walked up to your car and saw it.
Okay.
So yeah, they would not know.
Yeah. Are those legal in Florida?
Radar detectors are legal.
Yeah.
Yep.
So, but won't always get you out of a ticket if you do the standby mode, right?
Yep.
All right. Let me just ask, do you ever see any officers or heard of any officers making mistakes while using those devices?
Hopefully we get that all out of all the system during training, because we really do go over it and over it, that all the thing, making the visual estimate, make sure you got the right car. Where really the only way you'd be able to win a radar ticket in court is if the officer didn't testify properly, or they forgot to didn't bring their documents, or it turned out that their radar wasn't actually calibrated. But that's
So
rare.
So in court, and Ian is now a defense attorney, but a prior law enforcement with training in these devices and certifications. As a defense attorney, what kind of questions or what would you ask or try and do in court to try and defend a speeding ticket if you had to?
Try and get in as many of those other factors that could affect. Try and get the officer to talk about what he or she was doing or observing at the time. If how heavy traffic was, whether other vehicles around. Officers are people. We all make mistakes. I really don't think the vast majority of officers out there running radar are trying to write the wrong person, but it does happen. Factors like the air conditioning. If your air conditioner is turned on high, this is Florida, and if you're not using a handheld device, that could interfere with the signal depending on where the antenna is going to be mounted. The size of vehicles, the tone of vehicles, again, just try and find an inconsistency in there and kind of chip away at that.
Yeah, that makes sense. Let me ask, Mike, some questions people might know. What's something about radar enforcement that would maybe surprise most drivers, if anything?
Does radar in general, or just speed enforcement, or radar specifically?
Okay, speed enforcement.
Well, I think most general public, someone's driving down the road, they see a cop parked on the side of the road, their automatic reaction is, that cop's running radar, I should slow down. In reality, most times if you pass by most cops don't have radar in their car. That might surprise a lot of people. Everyone thinks every cop has radar, and that's all we're doing every day, looking to pull people over. But if you see in Florida, if you pass a trooper, they all have radar. So they probably are running radar. But if you're passing a city cop or a county deputy, they might not. There's a good chance they might not have a radar. They're just, a lot of times we pull over to the side of the road, and I got to do some paperwork. So instead, I don't want to hide under a shade tree someplace where no one sees me. If I park in the median and do my report, I'm doing two things at once. I'm doing my report, and 95% of people who see me are going to slow down.
Yeah.
And make everybody else safer.
Yeah, and I think that's a great answer, because you did say something in there that I think a lot of people don't understand. Not every police car or every police officer has a speed measurement device, radar, laser.
I would say more don't have it than do have it.
More police officers do not have the training or the devices than actually do.
Especially in bigger agencies, because radars and lasers are expensive. Mm-hmm. So if you have an agency that has 1,000 officers, they more than likely did not buy 1,000 radars for everybody to have.
Okay. So is this something that Ian, I think you were maybe trained in the academy with this?
Yeah, that was back in 2004 in North Dakota. Yeah, it's a little bit different.
Each state and agency is different.
Yeah.
So it's not always taught in the academy, right? Oftentimes it's a secondary course they have to enroll in.
In Florida, you go on your own. So if you're an officer who is not interested in doing traffic, you can spend your whole career and not ever go to radar laser school and not be certified. So if you're here I teach in Orlando, and I do 6, maybe 7 classes a year, and there'll be max 20 people per class. So that's 120 to 140 cops from Central Florida per year. We have well more than that number out there, and they might not be coming to that class.
Wow. So that's something that people should know. When you see a cop car, it doesn't mean that they can even write you a speeding ticket.
Correct, because they're probably there's a better chance that they're doing a report or just sitting there watching traffic than actually running it. Now, they could be running radar, so don't think, I'm just going to speed past every car. I don't want to give...
Yeah, don't make that assumption.
Don't make that assumption.
No. So what's the highest speed you've ever recorded?
So I've caught somebody... Well, in real life at work, I got somebody about 115 and a 45.
Oh.
But the highest I clocked someone, it was during a class out on East 50. and we clocked a car going about 128. It was somebody driving. It was the two guys. It was way out on East 50 past Bithlow, which is kind of, there's like an industrial area. Then there's kind of nothing, driving out towards the ocean. And we were parked on the side, and it was, I think these guys were filming a video for something, because it was like a Lamborghini, some other fancy car. They hauled up by us. They had GoPros on, and they weren't sure if they saw people sitting there, and then they went past us eastbound. And then when they came back to the direction, they were going the speed limit.
Yeah.
But we were in class. No one was, the instructor's the only one certified. We're not in our jurisdiction.
It's good training.
So it was just a good training.
So what's the craziest excuse you've ever heard for speeding?
Craziest? I've had a lot of, like, I call them standard bread and butter. I'm late for something. I got to go to the bathroom. One of kind of my craziest, dumbest, I had to actually stop and process what he was saying. I was in a hurry to get to the gas station because I was about to run out of gas. And I don't think they understood how gas works. Like, the faster you go, the more gas you're going to use.
Burn your fuel.
I'm not buying that one. So, but lots of the common ones. But that was like kind of my dumbest one. I just like, I'm not buying that.
That's funny. Ian, did you ever have any crazy, dumb, or?
I think the dumbest one is, my car is not capable of going that fast. It's like,
That's a common.
You were
I hear
going
that
like 85 miles an hour. I can't think of a modern automobile that can't go more than that.
Yeah, and then I've heard officers reply in court, well, that it wasn't safe to operate on the highway.
Yeah.
If your vehicle can't even drive the speed limit, then you shouldn't be on the highway. So it can cut both ways. So you got to be careful when you give those excuses. But, all right. We did a separate podcast on the super speeder. Ian and I did that one. I know you weren't here for that. Do you have any experience with that, or that was...
That law took effect after I retired. Yeah. But I'm familiar with it because we talk about it in class.
So you're still talking to your officers about it?
Right, because I want them to know the elements to make sure if they're going to arrest someone, that they've got all the elements in for the arrest.
Yeah. Okay. Is there still some confusion on that, you think, with some of the officers?
I definitely think there is, because the statute, when I read the statute, it's very clear. If you're going 50 or over, that's kind of like automatic arrest. That's clear in the statute. But then for the 100 or over, it's got wording where if you're going 100 or more miles an hour, there's like a caveat after that says if they're going 100 and they pose a danger to other people or traffic, or wording to that effect, that's criminal.
Yeah.
And I think that's where some people misinterpret it, or they just think, oh, you're going 100, jail.
Right.
Oh, I think we talked a little bit about this before we started. Say on the turnpike, long straightaway, the speed limit is 70. If you're going 101 and there's nobody around, I would say doesn't meet the criminal criteria.
Yeah, because you hit 100, but you didn't affect any other traffic.
Right. Now, if you're 100 miles an hour weaving in and out of traffic, that's a different story.
Yeah, absolutely. So the facts really matter.
So we have to add that extra element in. There may have been, I don't want to say necessarily confusion, but probably at the beginning, maybe there was like 100 miles an hour.
Oh, there still is.
Jail.
There still is.
Yeah.
That's why we do what we do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Yeah, we have people, sometimes accused of it that don't always meet the elements or the criteria. So it's our job just to make sure that everyone's following the law, treated fairly.
Yeah.
Ian, any advice you give to someone, or immediately after being stopped? I know you've stopped a lot of people. You were
Same thing I say for everything is close your mouth and don't say anything stupid. Yeah. Which is anything.
So sometimes it's best just to take the ticket and fight it later.
Yeah.
Exactly. I would say just be polite, be courteous, and just hand your documents
right
over, and that's no one's ever gotten out of a ticket by yelling at the officer. I'm like, why'd you stop me? That is not going to get you.
Yeah, might get you more tickets.
Yeah.
But even if like, I was only going 49 in a 40. Okay, well, you're still admitting to the offense. Yeah. I didn't know the speed limit.
Sure. Again, ignorance of the
You're not going to help yourself. You're just going to make it worse.
Okay, I'm going to do a fast round real quick.
Okay.
These are just questions about radar or laser, and I'm going to ask you right off the bat. Here we go. All right. Can radar see through trees?
No, not really.
Okay.
Because it reflects back. So if you got a thick tree, the bush, the leaves, it's going to absorb the radar beam.
So if you see someone speeding through the leaves, are you going to clock them?
It's probably not going to. Like if you had like a stick of an oak tree, it'll go around that, and you'll get like a big oak tree with leaves. No,
it's not. But if it's the trunk of an oak tree, probably not.
No, it's not going to do that.
All right. Can officers clock speed at night?
Yes.
But it's dark. How can the radar work?
Radar doesn't. It's a radio wave. It doesn't care if it's dark or light. It bounces off of.
I will say though, for whatever reason, Jeeps or vehicles going around a curve at night are more difficult to get the visual estimation. Something about the headlights on a Jeep, I don't know where it is.
It's funny you mentioned when I do the class, every officer, I call it, if you Superman reference, everyone has their different kryptonite when it comes to visual estimate. So some people are good at everything, and some people, if they see a red car, they have a trouble making an estimate. Some people have a truck. So there are, for whatever it is, for individual people, may have a certain body shape, body style, or a color where for whatever reason that initially can throw them off, and then eventually they work.
That's fascinating. I've never heard that before. Wow, I hear it from both of you. It must be true. Let's see if we can get a couple more in. I'll ask you one more. What is one thing every driver should know about speeding tickets? If not, if you don't have one, I might have a good one.
Go ahead.
I think a lot of people, not to answer my own question, but I just thought of it. I think a lot of people, when they come to me, say, hey, I just got a speeding ticket. Can you take the points off my record for me? What they don't realize is, just like a criminal offense, you're innocent until proven guilty. So you don't get points until the case is closed, and only if you're adjudicated guilty. So it's not like that we're removing points off your record. We just want to stop you from getting the points. Again, I just kind of thought of that. If you have anything else on speeding tickets, but that's pretty accurate, right? Like it doesn't go on your record.
No, until the ticket, either you pay it or they get the attorney and you go to court and have the points not put on your license. Yeah.
So even if you plead to a speeding ticket, there's ways to avoid points still?
Absolutely.
Yeah. How can someone do that?
Hiring us.
Yeah, hiring us. Getting a withhold.
Yep.
So if we withhold, there's no points. So you still might have the speeding ticket, but you won't get points on your record, which is great. Mike, I know we've been going on for a while. I'm going to ask you one last question.
That's okay.
If you could teach every driver in Florida one thing about radar, laser, or traffic enforcement, what would it be?
How about just don't speed?
Yeah.
And if you get pulled over, just cooperate. Just do what the officer asks. I've seen in my own job and in videos and things go bad when people don't behave the way they're supposed to. With nowadays the advent of the internet and everybody's on Facebook and YouTube and Instagram, just because you saw a video online where someone said something, it doesn't mean it's true.
Yeah.
So I've had many people I stopped and we tell them, hey, I stopped you because you're going this fast. And I've had people demand to see my radar. I have to see your radar before I give you my license. And that is absolutely 100% not true. That could be a fast track for you to wind up going to jail for refusing to provide ID at a lawful traffic stop.
That's what I should have asked you, the myth. Do you have to show them the
Yes,
radar?
if you're there, and I don't have to show you. Actually, when I clock you on radar, right after I've clocked you, the speed disappears. It doesn't. There's nothing for me to show you. I could walk you back to my car and show you
That's another
radar.
I think a lot of people think that it locks in.
No, it's not.
Well, some models have buttons where you can press a button to save it, but you don't have to press that button. You don't always press it.
And you don't have to show it.
And you absolutely don't have to show.
No, I actually, when I teach the class, I did not necessarily occur. I tell the officers, I don't think it's a very good officer safety move. If the person who wants to see your radar is probably going to be a very irate and upset person. And the last thing you want an officer to do is take this irate and upset person out of their car, walk them next to you where they're right by now your patrol car to look at it and see a number locked on a window, which, let's see, even if I did lock it, I got you going 90 and I locked the speed at 90. That irate person goes, I want to see the radar. And I make a bet with the other. I bet if you bring that person back and you show them the speed of 90, what do you guys think the next person that violated would say to the officer?
Oh, you made that up.
That wasn't me. That was the guy before me. So you're not going to actually, you don't have to do it. It's not safe to do it.
Right.
And you're not really going to solve anything. Just if so you can have your day in court.
Yeah. It's a speeding ticket. It's not criminal.
We have a phrase, we go, officers, we're not going to have roadside court with the violator. We're going to.
It's not safe. You shouldn't.
No. You think have your day in court.
Yeah. Exactly. Yeah. Call us. We'll handle it. We'll do it.
Call Gans Law.
Yeah. Well.
To piggyback just a little bit too, if you're not paying attention to your speed and then you see the police car, you're like, oh crap, there's a police car. I'm going to hit the brakes and now I'm going to look at my speedometer. Oh, I'm only going 50 in a 40. Okay, cool. But the officer's already got your radar going 65.
Right. Yeah. Slowing down is not a defense.
A lot of confusion because I was only going 50. I saw it. I believe you. But that was after
you saw later.
Exactly. Yeah. So as long as they got you at that highest speed, that's what they can use. So, guys, this has been a great conversation. It's a topic we get a lot of questions about. Mike, I would love having you on the show. Thank you so much for giving us your time today. Everyone, Sergeant Mike Alexander, 30 years with the Cody Police Department. Thank you again. Our co-host, Ian Wise. I've been your host, Brandon Gans, here at Gans Law. This is our podcast, Badges to Briefcases. If you don't already follow us, it's Gans_Law, and we'll see you on the next one.